I want to break down a event that happened in Medjugorje that to me is a little questionable at best. And this was something that occurred where a statue that was in Vicka, who was one of the seers in Medjugorje's house, all of a sudden appeared to start glowing in the dark in September in 2013. Where you can see this article, I'll link it down below, describes the whole event. And there's a couple on various Medjugorje websites where they get into this, where all of a sudden out of nowhere, there was this, again, the statue that I guess that's been there for some time, that I guess was gifted to her at some point, just started glowing in the middle of the night. People were lined up for miles trying to get a glimpse of what was going on. People said you couldn't take a picture of it with a flash on, which kind of we'll get into that later, why that might be the case. But without your flash on, you could get a glimpse of it glowing in the dark. People said that the brightness kind of decreased from about 11 p.m. to 2:30 a.m., then increased again, but vanished again. And basically, a lot of reports, people saying that this was a phenomenon that a lot of people witnessed. Vicka herself said, as you can see in this article, she was happy to have seen the light and to kneel and pray before the statue. So it's not really pointing at this something she's saying. I don't know if she was really playing an active role in it, but she's certainly not denying that this was a legitimate phenomenon. So Vicka being one of the seers is kind of a key thing to kind of keep in mind. But that's basically what this article kind of gets into. There's this huge kind of phenomenon. And I was brought to this whole thing was brought to my attention from a person who actually sent me some pictures of this event over a year ago. He sent me a number of pictures of Medjugorje. Some are very fantastical. Some I need to get kind of a closer analysis to look at. But I'm back to kind of looking at Medjugorje and being a little more skeptical. In fact, I have been for some time, but I made a video on this channel saying that I was starting to get a little more sympathetic to the story and, maybe giving the benefit of the doubt. And now I'm starting to really kind of go back and saying, this is something we really got to start looking at because this and among other things, especially on the internet and YouTube, especially, you're seeing people saying they have personal conversations and messages with the Blessed Mother or a particular saint or even Jesus Christ. These are basically self-proclaimed mystics. And this kind of leads people down a number of different, paths. Some might be, harmless. Some people might build their actual faith. But for some people, this can be a very dangerous thing. It can actually be a faith breaker for some people. And worse yet, open them up to elements of the demonic, which some people have definitely said. And I've actually gotten some personal messages from people's experiences from Medjugorje as well. And I think I said this in the previous Medjugorje video that I made, that this is either the biggest scam perpetrated on the Catholic Church, possibly, I don't know, maybe it's not the biggest, but definitely would be up there, or it is one of the biggest gifts we've had in the church, and one of the biggest phenomenons that's occurred in the church. Possibly, you could argue, I don't know if it's bigger than Fatima, but if this is all legitimate, you have living seers right now who are giving us monthly updates what the Blessed Mother is saying. That would be, that's a pretty big deal in my opinion. So there are two really huge sides of the spectrum. Yes, there's some people in the middle that are kind of indifferent one or the other, and they'll say, well, if it comes to fruition, that's great. I got some background about it. Maybe I'll take it serious if something happens. It's good to know. It's not really going to break me one way or the other. And there's some people in the middle that just don't care either way, and they'll believe anything they say that's kind of presented to them. They're like, oh, it's a miracle happened. Yeah, I have no problem believing that. It's not going to affect my faith one way or the other. But when you have stuff like this that no one's really questioning, no one's really doubting, and this is something to me that really raised some red flags. So I don't mean any disrespect to the individual who initially sent me these pictures. They actually sent me some really fantastic images that maybe I'll share in the future that are a little more promising in my opinion. But when the individual first sent me these pictures, I wasn't aware of this phenomenon. They just sent that I saw these glowing pictures and the attachments, and wow, this is pretty cool. I opened it up. And right away, my first initial response was wow, this is pretty neat. This statue's glowing, And then within about I'd say less than a minute, I'm like, this looks a lot like the glow in the dark statues my kids have in their room, like my glow in the dark Mary statue that my kid has. And I mean, again, I saw the real statue or the statue without it illuminated, which again, I thought, well, that could be some sort of special paint. And I thought, is there some sort of special paint you could put on? And sure enough, I found a YouTube video and I saw some paint you could buy on Amazon that shows how this paint essentially works, where you just kind of paint it on and it comes on kind of like a white coating. And then, it lights up whatever thing you kind of painted on, which, if you look at these statues, this would be a perfect, paint to actually put on this type of statue, or perfect use for this type of thing would be a statue like this, where it has the outer coating is kind of white. The inside doesn't really glow. All that's really glowing would be the white surface area of this of this Marian statue, and then it lights up, and it has this kind of a fading effect that you'd expect to occur when you actually look at what this glow in the dark paint looks like. It's really a hard sell, this, in my opinion, because yeah, there's some images of it really lit up, and then it slowly fades, just like a glow in the dark paint. So it's a very, very hard sell for me, because if you look at what, comparing this statue to any glow in the dark paint that's out there or something else that's painted with this, it looks identical in pigment and in color. And it's, to me, I'm just kind of surprised that this had so many people, and again, I could be wrong, but I personally don't think I am, that this had so many people really believing that this was true. If that the odds of the Blessed Mother would pick this particular statue to glow in this particular way that happens to look pretty much 99% exactly like glow in the dark paint, I find that a little odd. And then again, when you consider the way it was, how it kind of fades and again looks exactly like those statues. Now there's some images where people say, well, it has this kind of a glow even when you take a picture of it in the light. To me, that could just be the actual glow in the dark paint. When you take a picture of it in the sunlight, could still be kind of illuminating a little bit. Which, if you watch that video about the guy talking about the actual paint when he's applying it, he says it has like a little glow to it just initially when you're just kind of painting it on. So I won't be surprised if that's really covering this. So the reason I kind of get into this is that this is something among many things where it doesn't take much, and sadly, and I mean, no offense to this person or anyone else who says this, but if you look on the internet, and apparently I wasn't the only one, because I did find a web page where people said the exact same thing. Well, this is just glow in the dark paint, which is, again, pretty easy to do if you've ever seen glow in the dark paint, or if you just saw anything glow in the dark, in my opinion, that this would be something that could be faked. But then it kind of begs the question, well, did the visionary Vicka, was she kind of in on this? I mean, it appears like it wasn't. And the guy who sent me the image, again, I'm very, very grateful of him sending to me. I don't want to lose his respect about sending me the images. But he said that supposedly the Vatican took it away and it was under review and they couldn't find anything wrong with it. And I can't find any reports of that anywhere of that being true. I saw another report in one of these articles saying the Franciscans eventually took the statue and have it, and we're looking at it for review. The point is, this thing isn't going on anymore. It seemed to be a short-lived event or situation, which to me, if I was at Medjugorje, even if this was legitimate, I would try and stop this as soon as I could if I thought this was legit, because it just looks, to me, it just screams that it's a fake situation. And to me, it would do more harm than good to the cause. But apparently it didn't do anything. And the reason I'm even making this video is because I was interested. I thought about the image again, wanted to try and find it somewhere on the internet. And I saw no videos about this. So I was kind of surprised. And yeah, sure enough, if you look at other Medjugorje videos, there's nothing too, in my opinion, that I've seen that's, that promising. No more promising than people that are showing me like Bigfoot videos or UFO videos. They're all kind of grainy, they're blurry, nothing's totally clear. So it's nothing like the miracle of the sun at Fatima, that's for sure. And again, with every email that I've gotten, or people talking to me, and I know a lot of people I mean that are very, very pro Medjugorje, have had experiences. For every positive experience I hear about that, I hear some people telling me some negative things. In fact, in that video, you can check the comment section. People have shared some negative experiences that have occurred to them. And Vicka herself, as I was alluding to earlier, didn't seem to really put her name on it. This was something that she initially did, although she did acknowledge that she was happy the event occurred. So I'm not saying that one of the visionaries themselves maybe were put up to this or they're directly involved with this, but certainly this is her childhood home, and whoever is the powers that be or the individuals that kind of have a control in the local Medjugorje scene definitely played an active role if this thing was illegitimate and some sort of fraud. So some player, if this thing is fake, has ties to, just some sort of control in that local scene that, to me, if this is illegitimate, really should cause people to raise their eyebrows about what's really going on there and being careful about what information is coming out of Medjugorje, especially if something like this is able to kind of come out of it. That's really it. I don't mean any disrespect to anyone's beliefs or thoughts about this situation. I'm just simply covering something that not many people have really talked about too much, and I was a little surprised about it, especially like a YouTube video about it. If you guys yourselves have any other kind of special images, stuff you caught on tape, any stories to share one way or the other about Medjugorje, please put them down below. I'll be very interested to hear them. Thank you again for watching.